Yeah.
Got a great show tonight. We've got Julie Marzano. We're going to talk about low incidence classrooms and how to support them.
AT kind of stuff. AAC.
We're going to talk about AAC and AT and how we can support our users in that area. I might talk about other things I've got going on.
What?
We might show a new template that's in beta.
Maybe.
All good, right?
Yeah. All
right. So welcome everybody. Thank you for sharing some of your Friday night with us. This is our last of our kickoff week. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of this and realizing that there's a lot out there that people don't know about LessonPix and can learn. We're going to go to once a week starting next week, and it's looking like Monday.
Monday, not Tuesday.
Not Tuesday. It's looking like Monday.
Mondays are better nights anyway.
Monday had our best response this week, and Tuesday ends up being a mess. So looks like Monday.
Makes you smile on a Monday. People dread Mondays, but they won't starting next week.
Now they'll have something to look forward to, right?
Exactly. Right. I will.
Okay. All right, guys. So tonight we have Julie Marzano with us. She was here on Monday talking about like our tick stuff and little kid stuff. Today she's going to talk about all ages of low incidence populations and how she supports them with LessonPix. And so, Julie, if you're there, let's say hello and let's get started.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Julie.
Good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm glad you're back. You were one of our biggest hits. So.
Oh, thanks. I have a lot to share, so I might have to come back another time.
You never know. I mean, you've been on our show twice as much as anybody else, right?
For those who haven't seen it, there are some amazing ideas from Julie on Monday. So check it out. I love the Hungry Caterpillar.
Yep.
Lacey.
Oh, so cute, right?
So cute. And the leprechaun. We've been talking about it all week.
They have.
Ow. So funny.
I'm an engineer. I'm over it, but they're into it. So, all right. Well, let me give you the full screen, and you can share. We're going to keep our mic on so we can taunt you.
Sure. So hold on. I just got done. So I am going to first start by showing you guys some of the more low-tech kind of paper ways that we increase participation and access for our students with more complex needs and low incidence. So I did write myself a little note card to make sure that I stay to it. So just last night I had this idea. Well, let's start with the low-tech. Did you guys know that LessonPix offers, this is what, Words for Life, LAMP. This is like a low-tech version of LAMP. I know my lighting is terrible. And this is in the activity share area. I love this. I must use this. I probably have 20 copies of this. It's a great, because the big push is just to model when you're using AAC and pictures and communication. And kids learn from modeling and imitating other people. So this is a great, great resource to have. You can download the PDF and then send that PDF to Staples, and then on a yard sale or yard political kind of sign, you can have it printed out on this huge corrugated plastic board. I have two here. So I have one where I just had it printed out so you could point and model. And what's awesome about these is that they are dry erase, so you can dry erase at the top. But if there's anything else on LessonPix that you love, I also printed out, and it might be in the trunk of my car, I made a MinSpeak kind of Unity. It's not called Snakes and Ladders game, and I actually had it printed on this big piece of corrugated plastic at Staples for $10 because it was just a great staple, a great way for classrooms to play a game that included students' vocabulary and their icons and their core vocabulary. So also what I did is I took LessonPix and I made, I guess these are probably 2-inch. And so these are removable pieces. So you see, I don't use Velcro. I'll show you what I use. So what's great is that you can do icon sequences up at the top with these LessonPix pictures. I did laminate them. It's a little bit of work in the beginning, but then you have this core board. It's a year old now. So it's obviously lasted. My kids at home love it. They are always like playing with the icon sequences and moving them. But what I wanted to share with you is that we don't use Velcro anymore. We're over Velcro. It's time consuming. It sticks to your scissors. Half the stuff ends up in my dryer stuck to clothing when I have all these icons. we like to use with lamination. These are Scotch. The lighting. I'm going to get better lighting next time.
That's okay.
Scotch, the removable clear mounting squares, and a lot of people use them for photographs. So they're reusable. You can use them over and over again. And what's awesome is that they're clear. Like Velcro, if I had Velcroed this board, you wouldn't have been able to see the icons underneath, or I had to strategically put 2 pieces. Nobody has time for that. And what's great, when these start to lose their stickiness, you just rinse it under water and they're fine. So that's the way that I don't use Velcro. Like if I'm using a PEX book, I use these mounting strips, and I think these are like $2. So it's probably ends up being about the same price as Velcro, but these are awesome when you're using LessonPix icons. You laminate and then you reuse them over and over again. So there's the like low tech kind of spiel on the core boards when we're using LAMP, Words for Life, Unity. Another thing, I made this last night because I have had some high-end users in the past, and now I'm looking, I have everything spread out. I've had some high-end users in the past that might be step scanners. Where did I put it? I bet you one of my kids took it. So we'll just switch from that. So Here's another low-tech board that I did. We played Mad Libs in one of the classrooms. We do something at a school called a Spock group where the speech and OT collaborate, come up with an activity, and we do an activity and model for a half hour to an hour a week in our classrooms. So we pick a different theme, game, activity every week. And what we did here is we were like, oh, wouldn't Mad Libs be fun? So we took the Unity pictures. We did adjectives, verbs, and nouns.
Right.
And what we did, we also, because we have in our classrooms direct selectors, 1 switch scanner. I gave users 2 switch scanners. So we did also like label row columns. So if we said, do you see an adjective in row 1 that you want to use? And what was adorable, when they filled in their little Mad Lib thing, at the end, we recorded the whole thing on a step-by-step in the other room, so they didn't hear what the fill-ins were. And each student took a turn pressing the switch to hear the funny thing that they created with the Mad Libs. So it was super cute activity.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
All right. So why are there only 4 numbers across the top?
I have no idea. That was probably
sorry, that's the engineer in me had to.
You know what? It was probably in a classroom, and it's probably with dry erase. I was probably in a classroom. I was like, I need to read rows and columns. I have no idea, but thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. Nobody chose that middle row, right?
And then column, and most likely I was modeling row 1, row 2.
Gotcha.
Okay, do you want this one, and this one? We probably didn't even use the numbers up here and say, okay, row 1, row 2, do you want this?
All right. I didn't mean to throw you. I thought I was missing something.
Don't throw me under the bus. Like,
sorry.
No, you didn't. Please. I found my spinner.
Well, you know, that actually is actually a pretty interesting layout. If you bring it back up, that actually might be a good template for us.
Actually, yeah,
because
probably
it's a good way for people who are, give me, 3, 3, 3 is an easy way for people who can like count or hit switches and those kinds of
like
things.
Like tic-tac-toe on a 3-3 board. I label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then they pick which number they hit stop, and then they can play tic-tac-toe. So yeah.
Before we get back to this, let me ask you a couple questions about your population. Now we talked about this being low prev or low incidence population, but what are your ages that you're working with?
3 through 21.
3 through 21. So anybody who's getting services through the schools in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I'm in Pennsylvania this year. I'm actually at an approved private school. I was in 17 years in the public school system in Delaware at a self-contained school of about 100 students, 3 through 21. Now I transitioned to Pennsylvania this year to be closer to home, and it's an approved private school because Pennsylvania and Delaware are just different.
Gotcha.
So districts pay a tuition to send students to this.
So in Florida, these would be what we call McCabe scholarships, where if you've gone to the public school and it's not working, you can get funding to go to a private school, and that doesn't necessarily cover the full tuition, but it covers a lot of it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I am this year.
Okay. And 3 through 21. That's a huge range.
It is a huge range, but you know what? I like it. It always keeps you on your toes, and you have the big whole picture of what a young 3-year-old looks like, and just you have to have the distant view of the beginning and the end of an education of a child with complex needs. So I like having all the different age groups.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So go your screen back.
Oh, okay. So last night I was thinking, okay, so I'm thinking of a specific student in mind, and I wish I had thought of this years ago. I think she had 45 icons. It was multiple hit Unity. And she was a single automatic scan user, and she used a knee switch. But she's very bright, and she had a hard time accessing her device if something was wrong. So if something itched or something was too tight or something came undone, she would get herself all worked up, and then we had no way of allowing her to access her device to figure out what was wrong. So it's like every high tech should have a low tech version. But I made this the other night. So I just put help on here. And I'm calling this like the emergency spinner. Like, something's wrong, let's figure it out. So I did actually make it like a Pac-Man. So I kind of tried to block out all the other icons so the client or student could focus on the one. And it's more of like a partner-assisted scanning. So you're just saying, you are telling me that you need help. Is it a cough? Do you need a brush? Is something dirty? Something clean, or you need something clean, something hurts. They could say, they could show an intentional movement, like a deep breath to say something hurts, or they look at me to say something hurts. So then I would flip it over, and I have body parts here.
Gotcha.
So I could say, is it your stomach? Is it, of course, butt shows up, bottom. My kids got the biggest kick at this last night. They were like, Mom, show us the picture of the butt again. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. Is it your shoulder?
Right.
Is it your arm? So it was a super easy, low tech kind of way in a crisis situation that's always accessible. Like, a mom could carry this in her purse.
Right.
She can't carry a huge accent in her purse, or if they're in crisis, or if a child's in bed and they're crying and something's wrong. This is always accessible and simple. And I love that you guys have the Unity icons. I have a Mac, so I couldn't use past software. And I used to download all the JPEGs off of PRC's website and search. And, the obvious isn't always obvious with these icons. Like, you might type in like, and the picture of the sun is not going to come up. You have to look for sun. So the fact that you guys have simplified it on LessonPix makes my life 100 times easier, and I can get things done in a quarter of the time versus historically when I used to try to do all this stuff.
I think it's great that you're getting a lot out of that. We need to make sure we thank Jane Odom. I mean, she's the one who happened.
Yes.
Right? She came to me and said, I need to use your tools. I said, okay. And she said, and we need to get our pictures in there. I'm like, all right, that's a lot of work. And it turned out it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work on both sides. But now we have all of the LAMP Words for Life. The LAMP 2.0 pictures are in there. They're all in there underneath PRC, if you look for PRC Unity. And then there's an option under, if you go to your name, like where you change your password, there's an option that will turn on Unity results in your search results. And that's why you're succeeding, right? So I'm pretty sure you must have that on. You might be muted, Julie.
No, I'm muted because my son is singing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in the background when my husband's supposed to be tending to him.
Oh, it's a husband problem. We don't have those problems here. We don't have husband problems.
Never.
Never. Never.
Give me 1 second. James, you need to be upstairs. It's time for bed. Thank you. Oh my God, he's listening. That never Sorry about that, guys.
We've seen your other videos. That never happens.
On Fine Motor Bootcamp, like, if you follow our page on Facebook, you will see the craziness of our lives.
Yeah, that's life.
Right,
that's
good.
It's all good.
Thing that makes life
it's all good. So we do need to make sure we thank Jane, and they've been really good about like, even in the Word plugin, the Unity symbols show up there as well. So they've been really helpful about that. But
yes.
Anyway, let me let you get back to showing goodies.
I did want to let Julie know, and our listeners, that that template you just showed with the spinner and the cover on it is in development, has been made.
It has been made.
Yay.
Yeah, and it is slightly different than that, but it is very close.
Not much different. It is the challenge is there's so many templates, because if you choose 2, you need a wider window.
Oh.
20 pictures,
Yeah.
text, no text, and all these little nuances.
They multiply out.
Can't imagine.
It's a bigger project, so it's hard to keep things simple.
Yeah, actually,
looks
the
easy.
horizontal one of those was a lot easier than
We have
the
that as
circular
well.
one, right?
Yep.
Oh. There's just something about a paper plate and
Yep.
making it full that I was like, I got to do this.
Yeah, that works great. It
Probably
works absolutely great.
15 minutes. It wasn't terrible. But then
Nope.
it's a life changer. It's a quality of life changer for a client.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Cool. All right.
So what are you showing us next? You're good. Keep going.
Show you. I have another low tech thing. I'm going to turn on my document camera. I call it a who, what, where board. So don't mind the Altoid mint. So here I have 3 file folders that I've put together. Okay, you see how they're all laminated. And so at the top I have the who. My camera's backwards. So then I just have my kids' pictures here now. James, Nadia, and Will. And then in the middle, I have a spot to put the who, and then the is, and then I'm going to add the verbs at the bottom, the ing verbs.
Okay.
So, again, if I wanted to Velcro these boards, I could certainly do it. And then at the bottom is the what, so what's happening. So this is like just a super fun way to get kids to work just on icon sequencing in a form of sorry, something popped up. I don't know what it means. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
You sound great.
So I have the who, so you could take the, Velcro these up, and I could say, okay, James is, put it there, and I could say, okay, I want you to just figure out, pick one, and it could be like, okay, ooh, look, and then it's like pacing. James is reading. How fun. And what's awesome, if you have this laminated, you could take it to the next level for some of your clients who are working on sentence and writing and just say, okay, James is, and like a near point copying. And then you could even say, oh my gosh, that was an awesome sentence. You could model on the giant core board that I have in the background.
Right. On the wrong screen, but yes.
Yeah. And then you could also take the client's device and you could say, okay, James is, what was he doing? He's reading. Reading. I have it on single. Oh, no, I don't. Look at that. He is reading. So it's just a great little way for them to work on icon sequences. Super cute, super low tech. Again, it takes a little work in the beginning, but then you have it forever. Yep. Now, one of the other things I've done with, and I've also cut out like a ton of those 2-inch just to have these icons all around. Like I do just have a bunch of these because things get lost. But another great thing is at the Dollar Tree, they sell this dry erase die for $1. Maybe it's $2 for $1. And what's cute is that I take those, things from, who makes them? Scott.
Yeah.
They're mounting things, and then we can make like this little die by sticking these on here. And we could say, all right, we're going to play a game called Let's Pretend. So the kids can roll the die and say it pops up on eat. Okay, and you could say, okay, it landed on eat. Everybody, let's pretend that we are eating. And they could sit there and be like, nom, 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 nom. It's just a great way to model and work on actions and meanings of icons. These icons mean a million different things, but just basic little activities that you can make like game-based.
Right, absolutely.
Everything turns into a game when you add a die or dice to it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of dice, you have something else to show me, right?
Yes. So is it Adafruit?
Adafruit. Named after Lady Ada Lovelace.
I even watched their YouTube today. Of some of their.
Oh.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You're all good.
About their show and tell, and I think I might end up going on next week. So thank you for that recommendation.
You're welcome.
But so they made this amazing die/dice roller. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so they 3D printed this.
It's very pretty.
So
I like the colors and.
So I want to walk through how that came into being, but can you show how it works first?
Sure. So you can plug a switch into the side. I don't have a switch at my house right now, but I just turn it on the bottom, and you'll see it lights up. So you can use a button or plug the switch in, and you can put any die in or dice in there you want. It can use multiple, so it's just like a light bulb. It screws on and on. You just put it in there, and you twist it back on. And then what happens is they hit the switch or they press the button, it spins the die.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what I have in here is a rock, paper, scissor die, so that our clients who can't physically do rock, paper, scissors with their hands can participate in the game with a single switch, whether that they can blink their eye or move their finger a little bit, they can still engage in a game such as this.
That's awesome. So let's walk through how that came to be, okay?
Sure.
So for those of you who don't know, I have another job, a nonprofit job.
And through the magic of television,
I wear a green shirt in that job.
Your shirt has changed color.
Yeah, so that's how it works. So I started a charity about 2.5 years ago, called atmakers.org. ATmakers, and atmakers.org is the website. Also, we do a ton of work on the Facebook group. And what we do is we try to introduce makers, meaning engineers, robotics teams, things like that, people who make things, like the folks at Adafruit, to assistive technology, because these are two groups that really aren't in this. They're not really aware of each other, right? They know the other people exist, kind of, but they're not in contact with each other. And there's so much, overlap between what is needed and what they can do. So I started this about 2 years ago, and I teach high school kids to make adapted toys. We have all kinds of stuff that we make. And the company that Julie's talking about is named Adafruit. It's founded by Lamore Freed, who's a remarkable engineer in New York City. And they've got teams of people who make stuff all the time. They've got this great model with their business, which is basically, it's basically a tutorial company with a gift shop. So they'll teach you how to make something. They'll teach you, how to make whatever it is. And then down the right-hand side are all the things you can buy to make this thing. It's a great idea. And I just wanted them to start looking at, okay, make some projects that are AT projects and put the stuff to make it down the side. And they have. They've really taken to this. And in fact, the whole group has. We have about 500 people now in that group. And Julie came and said to the group, now you actually said, I've got a dump truck that I want to adapt to make it roll dice, right?
Yes, it was a Hess truck that if you press the button, if I put in the bed of the truck, you press the button, a hydraulic lifted the dump truck, and all the die would roll out. And I was like, oh my God, this has to be able, I don't know how insides of things functions. I have ideas, but a group like AT Makers is perfect for someone like me who has an idea but needs it executed.
Right. And so you ask, can somebody do this? Somebody bought one.
Yes.
Failed, decided that no, it was not going to work. But then they took it and came up with other ideas.
Yes.
And then I cracked a little bit of a whip that said, okay, great idea. That's not enough. Go make it and send it to Julie. And they did, right?
They showed up on my door and I could have cried. It was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, there are good people in this world.
So everybody in AT Makers is a good person. A lot of us are engineers, and once we've solved the problem, we tend to move on to the next thing. And I just need to make sure everybody follows through and actually make sure it gets to you, make sure it actually works. And it did. I am more proud of that dice roller. I had nothing to do with it, right? Because
I know, it's so awesome.
I didn't engineer it. I didn't make it. Other people did, right? Brady Fulton and Noah Ruiz and the guy whose name I should be able to remember, and I can't. It's not Tracy. Todd. I think it's Todd. Anyway, those guys all made it, worked together to design it, and then Noah actually sent it to you, which I love.
Yes.
We got pictures today from Kim, right?
Yes.
Kim works with you,
mm-hmm.
and she's an OT?
She is an OT as well.
And she actually sent me pictures of kids using those dice rollers in the classroom, and that's awesome.
It is really awesome. And I do also like to use the document camera. So if you have a larger group, it's awesome because it makes such a cool noise when it goes around, and the students do love that. But if I'm doing a bigger group, I will use the document camera and put it over top, kind of like how I showed you, so that, you know, it's on a
Yep, perfect.
so everybody can see what one of their friends gets. But we took it even further, and we made these kind of game kit activities, and we do have these on our website. So we have the materials that you need. We give directions for direct select users, one switch users, two switch users, and then vocabulary targets. And inside these kits, this is like, we call these like 5-minute fillers. We have all the materials and all the adaptations that you would need for all eye gaze users, direct select users, anyone to participate. So if we did rock, paper, scissors, actually we just played this in the one classroom I was in on Thursday. So we do have, let me get rid of that one. We made a core board related to it, to the game, like words that we would see kids probably using throughout that activity. Then we made like a partner assisted scanning. If someone wanted to choose on their own rather than random, we have the LessonPix rock, paper, scissors. Do you want to pick rock? No. Paper? And if they blink yes, oh, you want to pick paper. Let's see what your friend picks. And the friend hits a switch and it's like they pick scissors. And with LessonPix, you say, okay, you picked paper, he got scissors, and then we kind of give them a visual of, you know, scissors beats paper. So we use all the LessonPix pictures to give also a visual up close for our students. And we also made them tiny that if we wanted to add them to this dry erase die, we can add the pictures to there as well. So we have all these different ways using LessonPix that we've adapted the NAT makers to provide our students with meaningful activities and games. I'm on like a game kick because I just feel like games are family things to do. Reading and games are things people can do as a family. And how can we get our students that might just be able to take a deep breath to tell us a yes, to participate in these activities with their siblings or their parents or their friends. So that's kind of another way that we adapted it using LessonPix. Another thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to switch my screen, and I'm going to share my screen. So Bill and I were talking earlier that we use Smart Notebook software a lot in the schools because it's universal design. I think every classroom these days has a smart board with Smart Notebook software. So we were like, okay, how can we figure out a way for our clients to be able to use this amazing software and this screen other than you know, just as like a big screen TV. We want them to be able to participate and interact. So I'm just sticking with rock, paper, scissors. We have 9 games we have adapted using like LessonPix pictures. So I'm going to stick with rock, paper, scissors and show you how we used it on Smart Notebook software. So where did I put it?
Big green button, share screen. Yeah,
no, I'm looking for the actual rock, paper, scissors thing I just made. Let me check here. Right here. LessonPix Live. So it may have, what just happened? Oh, here we go. All right, I'm going to share the screen. Where's that again, Bill? I'm sorry.
Big green button at the bottom.
It says,
move your mouse to the bottom of the screen.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so this is Smart Notebook software, and I think I minimize. And then here's LessonPix. All right, so I'm minimizing this to show you guys how this works. So on Smart Notebook software, they have some interactive materials. And what's great over the years, it used to be just a die down here. Now you can customize it. So I can set my students up and play rock, paper, scissors as a group, or, you know, in front of the smart board where I can have a switch over top of this. And if they press the switch using the LessonPix picks, landed on scissors. And then maybe their friend, and I'll go through how you make it real quick. You just drag this in. So see here, you have a regular die. So if you wanted this to be, you know, Sarah's die and this Tommy's die, this is a way that you can go to custom. And then what I just do is like, here's the rock. I type in, I need rock. So I clicked on rock. Here it is. I'm going to copy the image. Then I'm going to paste it right here in Smart Notebook software. I'm going to make it a little tinier, but it will auto fit in there, but it's hard to get it in the right one. And I just drag it in there. So then you have you do it for all the pictures, and then you have the die like this. So this could be player 1, player 2, they hit the switch, it rolls, and you can say, you know, which one was greater. Whoops.
Hold down the shift key.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Or this one, and rotate it the other way. So then you're introducing those math concepts as well, respectfully, of greater and less, and then even, equal. And the classrooms love these games. Like, it just adds a different dimension and excitement. Most classrooms with these complex clients do have a rec leisure time. So these are great for rec leisure.
So Julie, I got a couple questions for you about this. Now, Lori may know the answers, but I'm going to ask you anyways. So when you're in Smart Notebook, so first we do that all, some people may be watching this and saying, she's copying and pasting pictures. Right, you're allowed to, you're licensed, and everybody there, right, your sister has an account, and the people who are using this have accounts. It's okay. So
I can't share this on Smart Notebook Share Center.
You should not share that in Smart Notebook.
I know that.
But it is important that you know that we do this on purpose. We don't want to be a bad Smart Notebook. We don't want to be a bad PowerPoint, right? So if you want to use this, that's why all of our formats can be, all of our images can be exported in standard formats, and you're allowed to copy and paste them. So I'm glad you're doing this. It's exactly why we designed it the way we did. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a way to set that so that it will roll on a space or like a keystroke? Because if so, we could switch adapt it.
Well, we do. Wait, I'm confused. So I just put the mouse cursor over top, and then the client hits their switch through a switch interface box,
which is sending a mouse click.
Which is sending a mouse click, which makes that's the way we use it.
Gotcha. So,
that's the way I figured out how to use it.
Gotcha. So if you could set the one on the left to spin when A is typed, then you can make those. Yeah, you might be able to do that. That might be that's a follow-on
feature.
Yeah, it'd be under properties, but we're not going to go there right now.
Yeah, no, that's a sit down one night.
It would be a good idea to know if that works. That would be handy. And I love the fact that you're doing this with a switch interface box, which means that those simple switches can send mouse clicks, which is great.
Yes.
The geeks in our world who may be watching more than usual because I posted this on the AT Makers group will know that switch interface boxes are basically simply a simple contact switch that sends keystrokes and mouse switches. So. So
all I know is I plug things in and it works.
Good. I'm glad it's that simple. That's great.
And it's simple. It's great for classrooms because I think the more technology and like we have to start small, like baby steps, doing this simple die roller, maybe just a simple mouse click, so that people can feel comfortable and then they build their skill and confidence with these types of things. I'm going to show you how am I on time. Terrible, right? It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all good.
I also took, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're all good. Go ahead.
Okay, so I took the same kind of concept and I thought, let's just demonstrate how you can do Unity. And I said, let's create sentences because a lot of schools are using something called Unique Learning System. And then on all these blogs I'm on, it's all about core and modeling and using it in the classroom. So I love, again, that all these pictures are in here. So I made one of those interactive die so a student could, do their switch and click the mouse. So this is a pronoun die, and then this could be an action spinner. Whoops. So this is a spinner.
Gotcha. Very good.
Customize, which is really cool. So you could say they. I think this is they, right? No, we eat. So then you could type up here. Oh, you came up with the sentence. We eat.
Very good.
And then they could also add a sentence filler, and they could use their device on their fringe that might go to their device, and it's a fringe thing. We eat what? They could say apples,
Gotcha.
So they could do their little sentence starter with this, which I love these. Do you want me to show you how to make that spinner real quick?
You can. I do want you to, if you do, I want you to make it so that it doesn't say Unity now that we fixed that problem.
I know. Okay. So let's do spinner, and you'll find, oops, all the interactive. So I'll hit enter up there.
There are a lot of different interactive activities that you can just put the LessonPix pictures into. And then what I would do is also make a PDF using LessonPix. Like, for example, I could put bingo, like put my icons up there that are within a bingo game, and every child there could have a bingo board from LessonPix. And then some child who's the caller would hit the dice, hit the spinner, whatever random image generator you want to use from there.
Yeah.
And everybody along has a tangible thing with them to work with it. So the power of the Smart Notebook with LessonPix is just inspiring and great for inclusion, diversity.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The preschool I worked at forever was fully integrated. You had 5 typical peers from the community and 5 to 6 students with very complex needs. And it worked beautifully because we were able to integrate things like this.
Yes.
And be able to participate with their friends. So
at all different levels, exactly.
All different levels. So it's awesome. But yeah, the spinner kind of works the same exact way. You just click and drag it in there. You hit the little gear up here. You can change the colors of it. You can drag pictures into it. Not this way. I just had to click and drag or copy the pictures in there. But I do love Smart Notebook software.
Yeah, it works great. Absolutely.
And integrating LessonPix with it. So I'm going to come back to here. Help me out. How do I get out of the screen share? Or the
I can turn it off for you, but there's actually a little red stop sharing thing.
Oh, I got it. Thank you. I'll look with my eyes open next time.
Green is to start and red is to stop. It's one of those basic indicators. Yeah. So no, that's awesome. I'm so glad you shared all that stuff. You talked for far longer than I expected, but I'm delighted. It's all good.
I love it. And we never have the opportunity to talk about the other tools to integrate with your visuals.
Yes.
And I really like the fact that you have showed these in so many different forms
to
meet the needs, the very diverse needs we have as teachers and therapists.
Yes.
So I think it's wonderful. Let me show a couple things for people who want to follow along. I got a couple questions I want to answer.
Okay.
And then let me see here. All right. So let me share my screen. So if you want to get involved with the AT Maker stuff, atmakers.org is where you go. There's a long video. I need a shorter video on the front.
Yes.
But there's a long video in the wrong t-shirt, in the wrong color shirt.
It's a good video.
It's a good video. It's a long one, but it's good. And there's always, if you go to latest news, you can see what's going on. These are a little bit curated, a little bit delayed. These are like the projects that are done, make it onto this list. If you want to be involved in like the day-to-day what we're doing at AT Makers, you can actually go to the Facebook group. There's a link here. You can go to the Facebook group, and if you join it, you'll see what's going on. So for example, today somebody asked, they're trying to help somebody who's aging, is losing his ability to speak, wants some help. We referred them to a speech pathologist, but we also said, if you've got technical stuff, come back to us. I have your picture of, actually I love this picture. This is actually your classroom, right, Julie?
Her mic's off?
Your mic's off. Your classroom.
This is not my classroom. This is where I work. That is Kim working with the students.
Gotcha.
It's her classroom.
I blurred them for you, but
thank you.
That's okay. But they're working with a variety of visuals, and they're using the dice roller in the classroom. I think that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Right, that came back in. I'm going to show these in a minute. I made rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock dice, which we'll talk about in a minute.
For Big Bang Theory fans.
Big Bang Theory fans know what that is. Those who aren't are really confused. But I did show how to do that. If you slide down, though, here's Noah, the person who made yours, is now coming back with, let's make an AT USB joystick that's open source and easily made. We gave him feedback. Lots of stuff here is going on about webhooks, about switch adapting doors. It's not just me. Jonathan Lasco is a maker who will help with other things as well. You've got David Baines. We've got lots of people who are in here. Brady Fulton adapted a Power Wings Wild Thing, which is one of these to make a small wheelchair for $300, $350.
But it's cool.
And it's a really cool wheelchair, right? It's definitely one of the coolest things that we can make. So we have a lot of things like that going on, and I encourage you guys, just check it out. Just search for AT Makers and join us if you'd like to. We'd love to have some more people in here. We'd love to have some more AT people and folks who are consumers. We actually have a lot more resources who are makers in here than we do people who are looking for help. That's a good position to be in, but we'd love to get you guys involved. So my show and tell is AT Makers because I do a lot of this stuff.
You get to show.
I get to show. It's great. Look, we made a fart blaster. We switch adapted a fart blaster. Who doesn't need one of those? Julie, you need a fart blaster, right?
I do.
See?
Right now with my kids screaming in the background.
It would be a big hit, I promise. So I'd like to show that. Now let me show you real quickly those dice. Now when I heard you had the dice roller,
Yeah.
I decided I was gonna make, if you turn your screen off for a second so they can see better.
Mhm.
I decided I would make 3D printed dice. I can still see your screen, kiddo. There you go. No, you can still see your screen.
Oh, me?
Yeah, turn yourself off.
I thought I did. Stop video. Sorry.
Hey, there you go. So
I'm a rookie. I'm a rookie.
that's okay.
I
That's
would
okay.
be worse. I'm not even running.
So
anything.
if you're actually a fan of the Big Bang Theory, you'll know that they extended rock, paper, scissors to include Lizard and Spock. So we added a lizard and we added Spock ears right there. And so we actually made these, and I made a video today showing how to emboss LessonPix symbols or any SVG symbols into a 3D printed die.
What are SVG symbols?
SVG is one of the formats that LessonPix will export. It stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And basically those are our native pictures. That's what we actually work in all the time. But all of our pictures will export to that. And then you can actually have a die that has paper and Spock, and this is roll again, and this actually came from the bottom. That's why it's so ugly. So I did it in basic plastic. I did it in AT Makers green because I needed to. Didn't quite have the contrast.
Actually, it looks great.
Yeah, you like that one?
Yes.
And then I decided to print it in wood because, you know, if you can print in wood, that's saying something. So this is actually printed in wood, and then I distressed it, and I might have over distressed
So you
it.
painted it with some black and sanded.
And then
the
I
paint
sanded
off.
the paint off. And
Looks like old
it
furniture.
looks like old
We're
furniture.
gonna keep playing with this though, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of ideas.
There's a lot we can do with this,
Yep.
right? So this is definitely very cool. But this is a great example of why we put our symbols in standard formats. You know, you're not going to be able to do this with a BM2 file. You're not going to be able to do this with a symbol that can't come out of your browser.
Or JPEG or Google Images.
No, I mean, this really does require an SVG file, which is what we export. So I think I think it came out really cool. In here, you see lots of the flaws, but it looks like a wooden die.
Are you going to share these so other people can print these?
So-
The 3D printer.
So I actually made a video that shows exactly how to walk through how to make this.
Okay.
And so in AT Makers today, I show how to open up Fusion 360, how to create the die, how to take the SVG out of LessonPix and put it into Fusion 360,
Nice.
how to render it so you can preview it, convert it to.
Let's say I don't have Fusion.
What do you think you
360.
should do?
What would I do?
I don't know, Julie, what would you do?
So what is, I don't understand what Fusion is.
See?
So if you didn't know how to do this, where would you send that video to get it done?
Where would I?
Yeah.
To a 4-H club?
Good. My recommendation is your high school robotics team.
Okay.
4-H club is a very good choice. There are a lot of them are STEM clubs now too, but there are people in your school district, in your local area, who will look at that and say, yeah, we can do that. Not a problem. It'll take us an hour, right? And they need service projects. They want to do this. They love actually using their skills to do good.
Yeah.
And so that's what this shirt's all about. So if you ever see me in a green AT Maker shirt, that's what that's about. Also, it is primarily funded by LessonPix. So some of the money that you guys pay goes to this. More than we expected goes to this. But it's all good.
I think, though, you have understated the other thing that AT Makers does. And that is teaching these, like all these makers and great technology kids, teens have fabulous ideas. And they're doing the coolest Lego structure or robots.
Right.
And I can make this do that. And what you're really teaching them is how to talk to people that need, to find the need and solve the problem, because quickly they'll say, oh, I can do that, and race into it. And you're teaching them.
Telling them, wait, talk to them. See what they really need, right? Don't just make them something cool. Go find out if it's going to actually solve the problem that they have. And Julie, you saw that in the thread about your dice roller, where I'm like, did you actually talk to her about what she's trying to do? A lot of the times it is about getting people to talk to, and often directly to the AT users, and having that conversation. And once they come in contact, we have a little girl in Indiana, Ella Hunt, who's got SMA type 1, devastatingly impacted by SMA. And yet we have a high school team up there who's kind of her pit crew, right? They love it. They've adapted things to hold her arms in place so she can hit her switches. We've adapted her power chair so she can drive it with 2 switches. We've done a kind of amazing work for her, and they love it. They've adopted her. She's like their mascot now.
And how good does that look on your college application?
Yeah.
To say, not only am I part of a winning robotics team, but I have also used my skills for a real purpose.
Right.
Helping the community.
Don't say real. You don't say real.
I'm so sorry. Not real.
I've learned this lesson. You don't say real when you're talking to a robotics team.
Okay.
But an outreach program that impacts my community.
Thank you.
Helps me win the chairman award.
Yeah.
Those are
I'm going to chime in, and I'm going to say that I think this program is creating better citizens. I think. There you go. I think many of these clients are in a self-contained setting where they are not around typical peers that and students at the regular high school may not know these clients even exist. I think there's something real about collaborating and knowing that these people are out there, and you're creating better citizens.
Well, I will tell you that they love it, right? Once you get them engaged, once you get the teens engaged with the AT users, they love it.
There's a little speed bump at first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
An initial fear.
Right.
Right. Or
especially there's with all of us. Right.
The child might be fragile, or I don't know how to communicate, and getting them to figure out how to do that, like you said, makes better citizens. It gives them a tool belt that goes beyond their technical skills, because they are now dealing with communication in a pragmatic language way,
right?
To people who might be challenging to communicate with.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Just a little bit, right? So Julie, I would love to get you involved with your local maker club up there.
Yes.
So,
I tried to reach out a couple times. I need to
turn on your camera. Say hi.
No, I need to make a phone call or show up. Not everybody gets the big picture of email, so that is the step I have to take.
So if you want, you can always forward them that video. Everybody likes watching videos. So my introductory video on atmakers.org is a good one to send to your robotics team. Also, I've done dozens probably of just introductions, and it's weird because I'm talking to the Rock Point Robotics and introducing them to the Rock Point AT department via a video call. And it's like, you're in the same building, but you need me in Tampa to just say, go talk to each other. But I do that a lot. So I'll be happy to do that if you have trouble, okay?
And just to add, it's not always the same. Sometimes the schools aren't a great match. Just because maybe that robotics team is building or doesn't have the resources,
or already has a service project, right?
Yeah, maybe their vision is focused somewhere else.
Right.
But there are a lot of private schools as well in the area, and they often seek service hours and have much.
And a lot of them don't have a lot of the private schools don't have the resources to actually compete on the robotics side. It's not that they can't compete; they do, but they're not going to win, right? But this actually is a huge thing for them, especially if you are in a private school. They care very much about this, and it is a way for them to impact their community. So, all right. Well, we spent a lot of time on AT Maker. And so
Oh,
that's good.
yeah, this is a lesson.
This is a LessonPix show. I have the wrong shirt on. So I'm in the wrong story, right? From Into the Woods. So, sorry, a little Broadway reference there.
Yeah.
But I do have one other thing I want to show. For those of you who actually are LessonPix people, who aren't necessarily into AT makers and that kind of stuff, I do have one preview that I'm going to share, which we weren't planning on sharing, but I'm going to anyways, because I can. So we have a new template. Should we share the other new stuff we added or not? We'll do that Monday.
Okay.
Let's add this one now. Okay. We'll share these
really new.
because it's really new. It is so new that it doesn't really exist yet.
It'll be coming this weekend.
It'll be in testing this weekend.
No pressure.
No pressure. And where are we? Here we go. Share our screen. This one. All right. So here we are logged into LessonPix. I'm actually on a test server. And you will notice we have a new feature, traditional playing cards.
Doesn't have a picture
Doesn't
yet.
have a preview picture yet because we haven't made enough.
That's how new it is.
That's how new it is. But we have a lot of requests for these. A lot of people want traditional playing cards. So we made them. And so you can call these, I don't know, they look like birds or St. Patrick's Day, whatever. You can choose the suits that you want. This doesn't work yet, the restart each suit. I'm not sure whether we'll include it. We'll choose a nice Century Gothic font. We will create these, and it's going to make me a deck of cards. In fact, it's going to make me all the different suits that I asked for.
All of them.
Here's the download as PDF.
Print them on cardstock.
Print them on cardstock. You've got a set of, here's my clubs. You'll see it's got 2 through ace. I got the old lady there. And then there's your spades, there's your hearts, there's your diamonds.
Yep.
Okay. Now you might notice, I think we might have actually nailed it on the note. No, we actually repeated. So we repeat these until you get a multiple of 13 cards.
Gotcha.
So you'll see that these are all unique up until here, and then they repeat. That's because we actually have 8 things in the tray. But it does the math the correct way. If you want to have 52 different cards in your deck,
right,
you need to do the suits separately. So you'd basically make just the clubs, and you put in different pictures into the tray, just the spades, whatever else you want. That way you can make exactly what you want on your playing cards.
There you go.
Pretty cool?
Yeah.
All right, so the testers will have that this weekend. We'll find out if we have some errors. I'm pretty sure we'll have some errors. Given that Lori finished this template while we were prepping for the video, right, Julie?
Yes.
And so I'm sure there will be some issues, but those of you who've asked for that, I have good news. It should be out on Monday. We do have a few questions that I'm going to run through real quick. Let's see. Eve says, Julie, could you put the pane template on the sharing center?
Of course. I'll do it tonight.
So I'm not sure.
One is going to be, it's probably going to say either PRC Unity.
Yep.
Or one's going to say help, and one is going to say maybe body parts.
Okay. And so the round, so you're going to put the pictures on there. They're still going to have to cut them out and put them in the tray because, yeah, that's okay. If we have, when we make that other template, we'll do them again. We have a couple other over here. Are the plans and materials for the dice roller currently available at Adafruit? Yes, they are. In fact, Noah made a great guide. It's like a full guide with a video of how to do it, all the STL files you need, all the links to all the things you need to buy to make the dice rollers are there. He did a fantastic job.
And the ball is a snow globe.
The ball is a snow globe top that they actually sell at Adafruit.
They sell, so
it's not expensive. Yep.
That's what it is.
In fact,
I figured it out. I'm like, it's not light because it's plastic.
I'll answer that question with a link after the show. Let's see. We've got helpful tips. Thank you. Could you use this template for a lotto type game? I guess that would be the 1 through 4 things we were talking about.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And everybody likes your stuff, Julie.
Oh, super.
What is the concern with stating Unity regarding the spinner? I think that she just meant she was going to put that in the title so you could search for it. Is that right, Julie?
Like,
yes.
Yeah. That's fine.
You had also talked about, you had changed it with the little flags on
Oh,
top at the time.
Right. So when Julie was using the spinner on
The
Smart Notebook, she copied and pasted the small images, which have the little unity symbol. If you click on the image and get to the big picture, it doesn't have that flag. So that's how you get rid of the flag. Just click on the individual picture. You'll see the larger version, and when you copy that, it won't say unity on it.
Flag on it.
It says, I've had the same problem connecting with our local robotics team, lots of initial chatting, but a tough time establishing an ironclad connection. So at the risk of
visiting the schools is powerful. Visit the place.
Yeah. So at the risk of this coming across wrong, because some of my my mentors are the best people we have, you need to get past the mentors to the kids, and it's not that the mentors are blocking you. They've got an agenda. They know what they need to get done, and you probably seem like a really good idea that I'll get to when I have time for it. If you can get past that and get to the kids, they'll want to do this right away kind of stuff.
A second thing would be the time frame that you're dealing with.
Yes, you can't do that. You cannot start this conversation in the middle of build season or competition season. Like right now, if you reach out to an FRC team, they do not care. And that's not a flaw. It's kind of like going to the football team during districts and asking them to help you build a garden, right? It's not going to happen. You've got to pay attention to where they are in their season. FTC teams would be great right now. FRC teams are in the middle of the competition.
Yes.
So you need to be aware of that. We can help you with that. We can make a soft introduction if you get stuck, by all means. And if you do get stuck, let us know. We'll be happy to try and help, or find you a different robotic team.
Just started in October. Yeah, I see that.
So if you started in October, it depends
Then
on the
there's a
time of the
problem.
team.
Yep.
And if you have, if you're still stuck and you're not making progress, there's always more teams, and we're happy to help you do the introduction. And sometimes it's a matter of couching it in the terms that they understand. They need an outreach program. Every one of the robotics programs has a requirement that they do outreach and service to their community, especially the FIRST teams. If you've got somebody who's part of FIRST, that is more important to FIRST than the robotics outcome. They actually have the Chairman's Award as their biggest award, is for the impact that the teams have on their community. You got to make sure you're not going to expect them to put this above the team. They're a team before you, right? It is that they didn't form to be an AT team, other than Mark in Virginia, who did make one. But most of these are robotics competition teams. You have to work within that, and you're getting a lot of benefit because they are already organized for you. But all of this isn't LessonPix. Feel free to reach out to us at AT Makers, and we will be very happy to help you get in touch with them. I think that's all the questions. We are way over, Julie. Yeah, we're an hour. We're at an hour.
I came with a warning label.
You did come with a warning label. That's why we stuck you on Friday by yourself.
Perfect.
Thank
you.
It was
You're welcome.
really,
Thanks
really
for having me. So fun.
Yeah, it's all good. It's I'm happy to have you anytime you want to come on. Maybe give me a week's notice and then come on. But there's a lot going on in AT Makers. I'd love to do something like this periodically with that as well.
That's what I think as far as future shows.
Yeah.
We probably would dedicate an occasional one
Yeah.
to AAC/AT.
Yeah. Well, actually, I want to theme these. I want to have one that's all about parents and how they use it. I want to do one about, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
High school.
Yeah. So
Older kiddos. Yeah.
all right. So lots of thank yous out there in the notes, but I think that's it. Julie,
right.
thank you. And please,
Thank you,
if you wouldn't mind looking at this thread later, if there are any questions you can answer, go ahead.
Our
Those of you,
LessonPix username is Fine Motor Bootcamp.
That's right. And
Nice.
you should go to Fine Motor Bootcamp if you don't know about it. It's a great resource, and they use this all the time. Okay?
Thanks for having me,
All right.
guys.
Everybody, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you Monday. We're not going to do it all week next week. We're only doing it Monday next week, and I think that's going to be our new date. So once a week on Monday. Right?
All right.
Right. Through
All right.
the end of the school year.
All right. I'll see you Monday. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.